Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to KSAT News Now, streaming every Monday through Friday at 11. It's our bite-sized digital newscast.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Podcasting, streaming right here from the heart of downtown San Antonio, the KSAT newsroom, and it's the start of a new week, but for a lot of people, a holiday.
Yeah.
As they are celebrating and honoring the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah, and right now San Antonio is actually having a pretty big march going on, so we do have a lot of stories to get to, but we're just going to jump right to it. The big story of the day, it's the 36th annual MLK March and celebration happening right now on the east side.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we get into any other news, if you're planning on making your way to Pittman Sullivan Park for the festivities, here's a little bit from Justin to see what is going on not only there at the march, but also throughout the rest of the day. Justin, how are things looking so far?
Oh, it's looking good. The weather's shaping up to be beautiful. We're in the 60s right now. We'll be in the 70s probably here soon. There is a lot of cloud cover, but in general, it's working out really well for the march. We love that. It's been 2 years, obviously, since we've had the march in person, so it's great that it's going on, and then the weather is cooperating. Because there's been some years where it's been really cold.
Yes, been out there a couple years back, I think. I was doing it along there, covering it for our digital platforms, and it was pretty chilly out there, for sure.
It was. So glad that the weather's cooperating, and it should be beautiful for the march. If you're heading out there right now, or if you've been out there, we'll talk about the forecast here in just a second. I want to give you guys a trivia question, as always.
Okay, here we go.
So we're going to be talking a little bit about the atmosphere
Weather 101.
today. So this question is a little confusing, so stick with me here. So what gas does not exist in the Earth's atmosphere when we're talking measurable amounts, okay?
Wow.
Okay.
It's like,
So
why
here are
are
your choices.
why are you trying to make my brain work on a Monday?
Argon, nitrogen, oxygen, and helium. Those are your four choices.
Helium.
Scooby-Doo.
You're going to go with helium, okay.
Yeah, what gas does not exist in the Earth's atmosphere?
Oh my gosh.
Okay, my I got probably a chem teacher or something who's like, oh my God, like I cannot believe. We probably discussed this at some point.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to argon.
I was going to say, I feel like that's the right one, but I'm going to stick with...
Sounds like a character from Game of Thrones
Argon.
or something.
Argon.
Helium.
So the correct answer is
Nice.
helium. Now, to be fair, there is some very, 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 very small amounts of helium in the atmosphere. But when you're talking, the big two are nitrogen and oxygen. Okay, they make up most of it. Argon, a little small chunk.
I thought you were going to say oxygen.
No.
I'm just kidding.
You know what? I wouldn't put it past me to say that, honestly.
No, it is there. Thankfully.
I'm just kidding.
They all occur in measurable levels, though. But any of the gases technically can't exist in the atmosphere. They are there. It's just really, really small. It's oxygen and nitrogen that make up the bulk of it. But argon is there in very, very small levels too.
Thank you for quizzing us on that.
I know, making our heads
Giving me
work
another
here on
win, finally.
Chemistry, going back to chemistry class.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yep, good times.
We want to talk about the cloud cover. If you are headed out to the march, as we said, it is still cloudy. But what I'm watching is this whole cloud deck sort of getting smaller and falling apart a little bit. We're starting to see the edges kind of break up a little bit. And this is how this low cloudiness goes. Always tough to forecast, but it does look like the sun will be out maybe in an hour or two as this clearing line is trying to work in San Antonio now. And then once the sun pops out, promises to be a warm day. So 72 noontime, we're still going to call it mostly cloudy. 73 at 1 o'clock, 76 2 p.m., 79 at 3 p.m. And then we're up around 80 today. That is well above average. It has been a very warm January, stays that way. 75 at 6 o'clock, 72 at 7 p.m., and then into the 60s tonight. We'll see some clearing before clouds try to build back in a little bit. So here's our forecast, and it does show mostly clear skies this afternoon. There's a weak frontal boundary that tries to get into the area but just doesn't make it. So as we get into Tuesday, partly cloudy, still warm. Maybe some fog along the coast tomorrow, but nothing that really jumps off the page here. Not until we get into Wednesday. That's when we start to see some light showers develop Wednesday morning, maybe some drizzle. Nothing that's going to be very heavy at all. This is not going to add up to much, but it could be a bit of a wet commute Wednesday morning. And then we have another weak frontal boundary coming through. This clears us out, dries us out for Wednesday afternoon. And then we're back in the sun. So the extended forecast, it just continues to be these fronts that just keep coming through, but they're not doing a whole lot for us. They give us a very small chance of rain, dry us out a little bit, and then we do it all again. I think we'll have a little better shot at some rain perhaps on Saturday. Right now we're going with a 30% chance. So if you do have weekend plans, I'd say keep tabs on the forecast. Keep checking that KSAT weather app, and we'll keep that updated. But Other than that, this is still warm. This is still above average all the way through, guys.
We definitely need that rain. Thank you, Justin.
Yeah.
I am glad, though, that the weather's good today, at least.
Oh, definitely. Like Justin said, I mean, there's been some days out there for the march that things have been very cold out there, but of course, that's something that San Antonio always kind of comes out for. Weather has been very confusing to me. Yesterday, I was out watching some NFL playoff games. RIP my Minnesota Vikings. Okay, I've taken a lot of condolences for that so far, and it's just been like, okay, am I going to wear a jacket out here or a shirt? It's just been.
It's all about the layers. You have to layer up.
Yeah.
That way you can like put it on or take it off. But yes, we're going to turn back to the MLK March. We actually have a live look right now with Sky 12. They're flying over, some of those marchers who are trying to either, get to Pittman Sullivan Park or.
Yeah, making their way right now to, as we talked about, this is a day-long celebration here that the city of San Antonio has. And again, they're going to be going to Pittman Sullivan Park there on Iowa Street. And there's going to be just a lot going on today. There's going to be music, food, multicultural performances. And this is also really cool. So Via's Dreamliner bus is also going to be there as well. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, this year's theme is called Together We Can Be the Dream. And San Antonio is actually known for having one of the biggest marches in the nation. This year, obviously expected to be no different. As you can see, there were a lot of people marching still right now. Roughly 250,000 people are expected to be there.
Yes, and I mean, again, this is one of those things that in also having some conversations over the weekend talking about the march itself, it always is one of the more like amazing things where San Antonio has this event because it's such a cultural event and there's so much rich history here, especially on the east side, Black history, African American history, and it's definitely just a day-long celebration. There's also going to be health and wellness area there, youth area, and if we keep on mentioning food, and also merchandise vendors there as well.
Another cool thing happening is Via. They're going to actually have Via's vintage Dreamliner bus for viewing. And this was the signature vehicle during the 1960s and 70s. And for the first time, it's going to be on display. People can actually tour it and take photos. So that's really cool. And I was just looking again at that live picture that we showed, and we were seeing some of the marchers right now. It's really such a beautiful thing to see San Antonio just always coming out to support this. And over the last 2 years or so, it had been held virtually. So this year is a big year for the march.
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of excitement sort of leading up to it. Of course, Dream Week is a part of this as well as we take a look at Sky 12 right now, looking at the 2023 MLK March. You just mentioned back, and a lot of people really enjoying themselves out there, honoring the legacy of the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
And you mentioned you've covered this march before. I've never been, so tell me a little bit about what you remember from past years.
Yeah, I mean, just talking with people along the march route, I think one of the big thing is that you see so many different groups that are there. It's young, it's old. It's an opportunity for a lot of the older generations could kind of explain what exactly is sort of the history here when it comes to MLK, and also I mentioned it earlier, but also the history in the East Side. I remember we did a KSAT Explains a few years ago where we talked about the untold history of the East Side and basically a lot of the pioneers in the African American community that made the East Side what it is now, and that were pivotal in this march here. Starting and becoming obviously now one of the biggest events across the country. So it's really just joyous. It's celebration. I mean, there's a lot of people there. You run into a lot of people. Everyone's in a great mood. People are just hanging out. They're chanting. They're doing everything possible to honor Dr. King's legacy.
Well, I've never been, but it is on one of my goal lists. I do want to go one year, and I hope maybe next year will be the year for me. But if you have ever attended the march, maybe this is your first year, maybe you're there right now, you may have run into this woman, Janice Brock. So for the past 13 years, Janice has been collecting donations of water bottles and then passing them out for free to people who pass by her table in the 3200 block of Martin Luther King Drive, right there along that march route.
Absolutely. So this is a really cool story. Katrina Weber, I believe, did this story for us, and she spoke to Janice about this. So she started collecting for this year's march during the holidays. So it was a little bit of a time crunch for Janice, and she managed to gather nearly 1,400 bottles of donated water. Again, this is all for free for people that are taking part in the march.
Janice says she came up with the idea as a way to set an example for her own children, while also following in the footsteps of people who came before her, like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Absolutely, and again, one of those opportunities for her to also talk with a lot of the younger people that may be there celebrating for the first time. A couple of quotes that she had from our story here. She said that she grew up seeing Dr. Martin Luther King and all of the other persons and freedom riders, and that they sacrificed a lot. Again, just a way for her to kind of pay it forward and give these new generation, the marchers, also an opportunity to just, stay hydrated along the route there. That's important as well.
And look at that crowd. Oh, I cannot get over it. Well, we do have some crews down there. We're going to be talking to people who are participating in today's events, and we will have some of that coverage in our later newscasts at 5 and 6 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, I know Andrew Wilson's down there. He's been sending us some photos of the march as well. So yeah, just a big celebration down there on the east side of San Antonio. All right, so well, speaking of neighborhoods and things of that nature, zip codes now in San Antonio. All right, so now we're going to the west side, the far west side, and New Braunfels. They have actually been named the hottest in real estate right now. This is by Open Door, an online real estate company.
Yes, so the zip code here in San Antonio, 78253. That's near SeaWorld and Government Canyon, and it's praised for being close to downtown. There's a lot of major companies and tourist places around there, like SeaWorld, and Six Flags isn't too far. They also, people who live here also say that it gives easy access to the hill country.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, okay. So what was this one? So ranked 11th. So this is ranked 11th overall, right? The far west side zip code there, 78253. And apparently, according to Open Door, there were 562 home sales there in September alone. And yeah, anyone who's gone out there, you go past like Culebra, Petranco, all those Shanefield, I mean, it is just exploding there. They just opened Sotomayor High School this past year.
Yes.
Harlan is now out there. So yeah, I totally believe that there's that many homes being sold.
Yeah.
Like literally every day.
And it's always full of traffic. There's so many people over there. So I'm with you. I believe it too. But the other zip code is going to actually be in New Braunfels. It's zip code 78130. And this one actually ranked 4th place on the year-end list. Again, this is nationally. So here people say that they like it because they're able to use I-35, and that makes commuting to either San Antonio or Austin very easy and doable. And then Comal ISD and Greens Country music scene, they say makes it also more of an attractive place to move to.
I believe it. Yeah, that's a great area there too. And at some point we continue to just see that San Antonio, and I mean, as much as people probably don't want this to happen very much here, Austin, they kind of just continue to sort of merge together, become this like sort of big old like conglomerate of towns and cities and stuff. But New Braunfels right there, I believe also one of the fastest growing cities in the country, along with San Marcos. And yeah, Schertz, all those, Cibolo, all of those along I-35 have seen a huge boom. So makes sense, definitely.
Well, and like you said, it was not that long ago where you would be by 1604 on any given part of town, and it was more rural. And now it's just so developed. There's so many houses, so many businesses going up. So, and a lot of that has to do with people just coming from different states.
Yep.
So
it's caused, obviously home prices. We saw a pretty good surge there over the past year or so, but I think some of those prices are leveling out a little bit more. But yeah, that hasn't stopped people from buying homes here. Yeah,
no, it hasn't. And so if you're on the west side, you're in the far west side. You're in a popular spot.
You mentioned the traffic. Wow, that's
but
not fun.
I always feel like there's traffic no matter where you're at, right? Like, people are like, but you live far, and I'm like, you live the same distance from me to you. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
We're gonna go now though to Galveston, right?
Yes. All right. So the next time that you take a stroll on the beach, make sure to watch out for these strange creatures that recently washed up on the Texas Gulf Coast. Just look at this thing, nightmare fuel.
Dun, dun, dun. So Susan Arsenault was at Port Boulevard Beach in Galveston Bay when she came across this unusual creature that had a long body, sharp teeth, short fins, and beady eyes.
The little beady eyes are always the ones that like, look at this thing. This thing's horrifying.
I wish, if you're listening to the podcast, I wish that you could see this right now.
Yeah.
It's pretty frightening.
Yeah, it is. So Susan, I have a childhood story about this. Once we get through. So she posted a picture of this creature on Facebook and was later told on there that it was in fact a snapper eel that washed up on shore, and apparently people were commenting on there saying that, yeah, these things usually do not wash up on shore, so it's a pretty interesting find there.
Yes, researchers say snapper eels can grow up to nearly 6 feet long. They're carnivores and typically feed on shrimp, crabs, or bony fish.
I wonder if it was out looking for something there. Oh, actually, I think because Susan mentioned in that Facebook post that a storm had recently gone through there, so that's probably why this thing sort of popped up there out of nowhere. So the comments about this eel did not disappoint, with some people saying that that's a fish straight out of the depths from hell.
Wow. Another said that it's the sandworm from Beetlejuice.
Have you seen Beetlejuice?
I mean, when I was little, but I don't remember the worm.
It is creepy. Yeah, that worm is one of the most like scary things that I think I've seen in movies. That movie actually freaked me out. That's a whole different thing.
That's a different thing, different creature there.
Yeah.
But even just seeing the pictures of these, I'm like, ooh, it gives me goosebumps.
Yeah. Okay. So when I was a lot younger, I went to Disneyland with my family, and I don't know. They used to have this like submarine ride. I don't know if you.
Yes, I've been.
Where you it was this like little thing for kids or whatever. And I remember like I had my face like right in one of the portholes, and this like fake eel thing just came out and like just kind of snapped. It freaked me out. I think I was scared like still to this day actually.
So do you like to go to, like, if you go to the beach, do you get in the water?
You know what? I used to. I have not in recent memory. So yeah, but I used to all the time.
Yeah.
And I used to get stung by jellyfish too.
Yeah.
All the time.
That's
those
really
are the ones that always kind of got me.
And that's a lot. Like, those are always on the Texas coastline. But when I was a kid too, I would go in the water. But now if we go to the beach, I can't even get past the seaweed because, like I said, I get cringy. So
yeah,
I'm
definitely.
like, help me get past the seaweed, and then I'll be okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this snapper eel obviously causing a lot of commotion there along the coast. Oh, see, there you go. It just brought back horrible memories from that one fake eel at Disneyland. All right.
Okay. Sorry. Well, we have good news, right? Good news for
Sure, this is
a
awesome.
Houston native. So Miss Texas was crowned the first 71st Miss Universe on Saturday night.
All right. So what is her name? Let's go.
It's Arbani
Gabriel, right?
Gabriel.
Yes. So she is the new Miss Universe 2023, and this is history making too because she is the first Filipina American to win the Miss USA. Or this is she had won Miss USA, now she's won Miss Universe. Pretty cool stuff there.
Yeah, so the pageant was held in New Orleans over the weekend. She won against 84 women from around the world. Now, a little bit about Arbani. She's a model, a fashion designer, and a sewing instructor who graduated from the University of North Texas.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff there. So she teaches sewing classes to women that have survived human trafficking and domestic violence. So obviously a big part of winning these pageants, these events, is that you are all around, just helping the community. But she's absolutely beautiful, stunning there, and congratulations to her, Miss Universe. Shout out to Texas there. We have a Miss Universe.
I know, amazing. I went to go check out some of her social media, and I found it very interesting that she actually sewed a lot of her own outfits that she was wearing for this competition.
Okay.
And she upcycles clothing. So if you're unfamiliar, it's when you take something that you already have and you kind of add to it, you rework it, reimagine it, and she showed some of those outfit changes that she had created, and they were just stunning. So what a great win for her.
Yeah.
What a great win for Houston.
Absolutely, yeah. So a little bit about some of her background. So according to ABC 13 in Houston, her mom is from Beaumont. Father is an immigrant from the Philippines, and she said that she's always been made preserving her culture a priority. So this first time, again, that a Filipina American has won this. So yeah, this is pretty cool stuff here. Congratulations to her.
Amazing.
Yeah, awesome stuff there. Well, okay, I think we're going to wrap things up here for KSAT News Now today. It's been an interesting morning so far as we continue to follow the latest with the MLK March there on the east side. We will have the latest coverage for you there throughout the day.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow at 11.